Hello, my friends. Welcome to this very quick analysis of the ACP, PSM, and CSM. One of the questions I get quite a lot is, Phil, which of these should I do? I just got done with my PMP. What is the next step? Well, first and foremost, the next step should be one of using what you already have. Since you already have a lot of skills and knowledge, use it. That's step one. Okay, be a lifelong learner, keep studying, even if you don't have the funds to go ahead and take one of these additional tests. So taking a look at all three, let's grade them in terms of reputation and awareness. When it comes to reputation and awareness, it really depends on the organization you're looking to work in. Some organizations know about PMI very well. So the ACP is well known there, it's favored there. The CSM, some organizations have been following the Scrum Alliance for eons and they favor that over the ACP. And at the same time, you have a lot of fans of Ken Schwaber, people who know he's one of the co-creators of Scrum, and that gets the PSM utmost respect. So at a high level, high levels of reputation exist in all of these across the board. There is not one that will say is not reputable. Now, with that said, you got to be careful when you pose a Scrum Master certificate from outside of these organizations, because there are other organizations that have Scrum certifications. There's some that are, in my mind, a little bit spurious because they're trying to camouflage to entry-level people as the real deal when they're not. You know what I mean? So just be careful. But these three you see on the screen, these are all reputable organizations: PMI, the Scrum Alliance, and Ken Schwaber's scrum.org. The next parameter we're looking at is instruction. So when you take a look at instruction, the only certification that has mandatory instruction is the CSM, and that really is where the value lies. Okay, so the ACP does not have any mandatory instruction. Are there courses for the ACP? Absolutely. We have a course for the ACP, but it's not mandatory. And therefore we have the meh looking type of face. All right, CSM, yes, that is where the value lies. The PSM, they have training and coaching and courses for the PSM on Ken's site, but it's not mandatory. It's only the CSM that has the certificate tied to the training. The instruction is mandatory. All right, so you could call that a plus, you could call it a minus, but it is what it is. All right, next one. What about the speed of the process? So when we talk about speed, we mean in the gate, out of the gate. So I took my PSM exam about going to, I can't remember when exactly, but probably 1.5 to 2 years back. And I decided on a whim to do it. I just woke up one day and thought, you know, I've heard enough about this PSM exam from my buddy Roy. I might as well do it. So I woke up, turned on the computer, bought the exam and took the exam. You see? So when it comes to speed, for someone who is already equipped to take the exam, just like I was, PSM wins. The ACP could be a little bit drawn out if you don't have the hours and if you're going through PMI's process. In fact, for my ACP, I went through a very long process because when it came to documenting what you did from an agile perspective, not as a manager, but as a team member, that was tricky because what they were looking for was not coding and testing and all that stuff. They were looking for what you did from an agile perspective in project management, which is kind of tricky because if you haven't really given it enough thought, you could think that being on an agile team and doing coding and testing and test scripts and so on would qualify, but it doesn't. And that's the alley I was going down, but that's not project management. So I was schooled in the application process way back when, yeah, because it's not, oh, I was busy doing technical work. No, technical work is not project management. And that's why the ACP could be a little bit tricky in the application. So I got really fed up with it and left it on the back burner for a while. And then I worked for an organization where we did a straight on agile project, and it was very straightforward to document what exactly it was. So it wasn't like splitting hairs because I went back and forth between emails with the reviewer in my first sending off my application, which was a little bit, long. So the speed of the process for ACP could be a little bit discouraging. But if you got all your ducks in a row, I think the knowledge now is greatly magnified, and people understand what exactly they're looking for in the application now. For the CSM, speed of the process, you got to go for training, then you got to do a little exam, then you know, all that stuff. PSM, like I said, it wins for someone who's already equipped. Let's talk about the ease of the exam. For the ease of the exam, if you're taking a look at them and just comparing apples to apples in terms of question length and question depth and trickery level, content level, the CSM is the easiest of them all. Some students attest to not even taking a test before receiving certification, and that's rather controversial, but a student swore to me that he got his certificate before he took his exam. I have no idea how he pulled that off, but anyway, if that has been your experience, I want you to comment below. If you went for a class and you didn't take a CSM test and you got your certificate, I'd like to know that. Why don't you let me know below? All right, so ACP is not a cakewalk. It could rattle your chain a little bit. You got to be careful with ACP. People fail that, okay? They fail that easily. The reason is because the ACP does not just cover Scrum, it covers the breadth of Agile. And this is where PMI has firm grasp of that market space. And it's such a promising certification. I wish they would pay more attention to it, but it seems to be dying, unfortunately, a slow death compared to PMP and the other DAs that they've, certificates that they've put into motion. So people don't know, well, even PMP, why do I need to go for ACP? And, ACP has a lot of depth. It covers much more depth. So you talk about the likes of understanding the XPs, the FDDs, Kanban. You got to know those more, and you got to be much more into the think, a lot more than even for the PMP. But today, PMPs, they're given a healthy dose of Agile as well. So it kind of conflicts with the ACP, unfortunately. But it's a very tough exam for individuals who are not very comfortable with Agile. Not up there with the PMP from way back when, but maybe more in line with what we have today in 2021. Just a little bit more difficult would be what I would expect. The CSM, like I said, is the easiest of all. The PSM is not a cakewalk. You can run out of time very quickly, even though they're true and false questions, true or false questions. There's some short questions, but they could be lethal because they keep you thinking about the Scrum Guide. If you don't know it and you go into that exam, your time will run out so quick. You won't know what hit you. But if you know your stuff, it's pretty direct. All right. And I've taken 3 exams from Ken's company, Ken Schwaber's company, and they're not easy. You do need to know your stuff. Otherwise, you'll be tripped up with this common misconceptions and anti-patterns. Let's talk about the exam content breadth. Now, the ACP, as I said, covers a lot of topics. When you're talking about the breadth of content, yes, the ACP would have to win. The CSM, they do cover quite a bit of Agile, a fair bit. I mean, the manifesto is covered in the class. I took my class back in April 2011, over 10 years ago, and the phenomenal instructor, my instructor was Tom Mello, very good instructor, and sent me on the right path to succeed in Agile, but in terms of, in general, the ACP has a lot more topics, but that is not to say the CSM, depending on your instructor, like Tom covered the full breadth for us, a lot of stuff. But as I begin talking to other individuals, I realized not every instructor covers the content the same way, but I got a really good dose. I got tons of stories. It was very entertaining. And that's what set me up to success in the world of Agile when I met Tom and got trained through his classes. So the ACP covers a lot of topics. Depending on who your CSM instructor is, you might, but across the board, it's quite Scrum relegated. And in terms of the exam, not the course, but the exam, right? The course was very robust for me in the CSM, but in terms of the exam, they're a little bit bucketized into Scrum. The PSM, Yeah, the breadth of the content is just relegated to Scrum, but it's a lethal exam, I tell you that. Okay, so if you have any questions so far about what I'm sharing, I want you to drop a question below and drop a comment below. Let me know if you found value from this, because more than anything else, I want you to think about your line of best fit. Everyone's is different, right? Mine is different from yours. Yours is different from the next person, but hopefully this will give you some ideas. Now, I know a lot of folks have said in the past, yeah, Phil, just tell me, show me the money, tell me how much does it cost? How much, will my salary be impacted by this quite a bit? And I tell people, well, let's first of all count the cost to do this thing. So if you take a look at the pricing, the ACP, if you are a non-member of the PMI, it's $495, 120 questions in 3 hours. And of course, if one fails the exam, you got to cough out a substantial amount, not up to $495, but a substantial amount. The CSM, $795 for the course. You got 50 questions, 60 minutes. It's a 2-day mandatory course. But even if you failed the test, you can take it again, and it doesn't cost that much, even if you didn't pass it in the stipulated time and so on. It's not that much. But the course, as you can see, is a fair chunk of money. Now, taking a look at Ken's PSM, KenSchwaberscrum.org, it's $150, 80 questions in 60 minutes. Now, when I first saw 80 questions, oh my goodness, that's less than a minute for each question. You see why? They may appear to be short, but they will make you think, you see. But $150, that's low risk. If you get a PSM and put that on your resume, lovely stuff. You can laugh all the way to the bank, especially if you know your stuff, you go for an interview, they want to make sure you got a certificate that can back up whatever you're saying. They see you got a PSM. It's groovy. Life is good. You see, you got to go to dice.com, monster.com, indeed.com, LinkedIn. Check out those jobs and see how many of them actually look for PSM. It's a fair amount, not as many as CSM, but it's right up there. In fact, so many people are getting certified through scrum.org and various certifications. It's becoming more and more popular. Okay. So again, if you got any questions, let me know. Now, for the individuals who want to do the ACP, I want to encourage you. You could have a quick start by going to agileprinciple.com. If people who are looking for solid Agile and Scrum ground, and my buddy Roy and I, we've got a course out there. Jump on it for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, with preference to a shorter time scale. Jump on it and get training coach. You'll be extremely delighted at the material we have out there. It's very solid. We also have coming up an ACP course. So if you are keen on getting ACP certified, just drop us a line at info@praizion.com. And we'll put you on our list. And when we've got that course coming up, we'll let you know and you can register for it. Okay. Again, ACP is a good certification to have. But as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing the numbers not going as up and up as I would have liked to see them compared to some of the other certifications. All right. I hope this gives you some context. You take care and bye for now.